Hello, Di here, and welcome to the Prometheus Wept devlog for July 24. So I'm just going to run in-game illustrations for this log because it'll be difficult to show you the Rebel finale without major spoilers, and I'd also like to talk a little bit about the release. So I just wrapped up the Rebel finale. It plays out on up to 6 maps. If you're defeated in any of the 5 districts of Sunny Pines, which you'll be attacking, you'll have to defend the rebel base from a militia attack. And if you win, you can continue to fight, but if you lose, Sunny Pines will retain its existing leadership and you'll move on to Act 2. So the rebels will start out as very much the underdog. They're less numerous, less well equipped, and most have no combat experience. So once the rebel finale starts, your party size will expand, increased by a percentage of the rebels which you have recruited, while the remaining rebels in the faction will serve to replace losses, secure captured districts, and defend the rebel base. And capturing sectors often provides you with a benefit like an increase to your party size or seized equipment, which you can use to improve your own faction's equipment. The current gameplay for Act 1 ends after the final battle. Now, I would have liked to add the epilogue, but doing so would greatly reduce the probability of a release this year. So, moving on to what needs to be done prior to release. The good news is that every encounter in the game has been tested, so the majority of the testing work is complete. Now, there are, of course, any number of areas which could be worked on, but I'm going to concentrate on 2, and primarily the first one. And this first main item is balancing the game, particularly in the areas of combat, economy, and character leveling. The second will be to add some smaller encounters to flesh out the setting and the characters, if there's time to do so. So, moving on to the release itself, there's a fairly good chance of an early access release for Prometheus Wept this year. I've taken very few days off this year to boost the chances of being ready in time. The typical advice I've received from more experienced developers is don't release in the wake of a major Steam sale event, and don't release too late in the year, say after mid-October, as getting coverage will be more difficult. Now, I think the October cutoff is less relevant for Prometheus Wept because it's not going to get a ton of coverage anyway. So also if the time is tight, I can buy a week or 2 by just releasing the Windows version to start off with and following up with the Mac and Linux versions shortly after the initial release. So I've been working in isolation on Prometheus Wept for a very long time, and at this point feedback would be very useful to improve the game. So ideally, what I'd like to do is get a pre-release version to Kickstart backers some weeks in advance of the early access release. This will allow me to continue working on the balancing and also give me some time to react to your feedback before the game goes live on Steam. And I'm also conscious that I haven't added any of the Kickstarter rewards to the game yet. But early access release will at least fulfill the most basic reward of getting the game into your hands. And after this, that is the early access release, the situation will become less pressured and time sensitive, and I'll be in a better position to add the rewards, the reward characters, the perks and items. Now, if you do have any concerns about any of this, or you'd like to share any observations, please do let me know. I'm happy to talk about it. And I'm going to get started now on the balancing work that I mentioned, and I'll check back in a couple of weeks to let you know how it's going.